Though calling it a fight was generous. When she was done, Carter knelt and traced some hieroglyphs in the mud. "If Setna gets the Hajjet, we're finished," he said. "He'll form the crown of Ptolemy and—" "Hold up," I said. "Low tolerance for confusing names. Can you explain what's going on in, like, regular words?" Carter frowned. "The Shent is the double crown of Egypt, okay? The bottom half is the red crown, the Dishret. It represents the lower kingdom. The top half is the Hajjet, the white crown of the upper kingdom." "You wear them together," Annabeth added, "and that means you're the pharaoh of all Egypt." "Except in this case," Sadie said. "Our ugly friend Setna is creating a very special Shent, the crown of Ptolemy." Okay. I still didn't get it, but I felt like I should at least pretend to follow along. "But wasn't Ptolemy a Greek dude?" "Yes," Carter said. "Alexander the Great conquered Egypt. Then he died. His general Ptolemy took over and tried to mix Greek and Egyptian religion. He proclaimed himself to be a god king, like the old pharaohs, but Ptolemy went a step further. He used a combination of Greek and Egyptian magic to try to make himself immortal. It didn't work, but Setna has perfected the formula, I guessed. That Book of Thoth gives them some primo magic." Sadie clapped for me. "I think you've got it. Setna will recreate the crown of Ptolemy, but this time he'll do it properly. He'll become a god, which is bad," I said. Annabeth tugged thoughtfully at her ear. "So, who was that cobra goddess?" "Wadjet," Carter said, "the guardian of the red crown." "And there's a guardian of the white crown?" she asked. "Nekhbet." Carter's expression turned sore. "The vulture goddess. I don't like her much, but I suppose we'll have to stop her from getting devoured, since Setna needs the upper kingdom crown. He'll probably go south for the next ritual. It's like a symbolic thing." "Isn't up usually north?" I asked. Sadie smirked. "Oh, that would be much too easy. In Egypt, up is south because the Nile runs from the south to the north." "Great," I said. "So, how far south are we talking about? Brooklyn? Antarctica?" "I don't think he'll go that far." Carter rose to his feet and scanned the horizon. "Our headquarters are in Brooklyn, and I'm guessing Manhattan is like a Greek god central. A long time ago our Uncle Amos hinted us about that." "Well, yeah," I said. "Mount Olympus hovers over the Empire State Building, so—" "Mount Olympus?" Sadie blinked. "Hovers over the—" "Of course it does. Why not? I think what my brother is trying to say is, if Setna wants to establish a new seat of power, blending Greek and Egyptian, he'll find a place in between Brooklyn and Manhattan," Annabeth said. "Like here, on Governor's Island." "Exactly," Carter said. "He'll need to conduct the ritual for the second crown south of this point, but it doesn't have to be far south. If I were him, and we're glad you're not," I said, "I would stay on Governor's Island. We're at the north end now, so—" I gazed south. "Anyone know what's at the other end?" "I've never been here," Annabeth said, "but I think there's a picnic area." "Lovely." Sadie raised her staff. The tip flared with white fire. "Anyone fancy a picnic in the rain?" "Setna's dangerous," Annabeth said. "We can't just go charging in. We need a plan." "She's right," Carter said. "I kind of like charging in," I said. "Speed is of the essence, right?" "Thank you," Sadie muttered. "Being smart is also of the essence," Annabeth said. "Exactly," Carter said. "We have to figure out how to attack." Sadie rolled her eyes at me. "Just as I feared. These two together, they'll overthink us to death." I felt the same way, but Annabeth was getting that annoyed, stormy look in her eyes, and since I date Annabeth, I figured I better suggest a compromise. "How about we plan while we talk?" I said. "We can charge south, like, really slowly." "Deal," said Carter. We headed down the road from the old fort, past some fancy brick buildings that might have been officers' quarters back in the day. We made our way across the soggy expanse of soccer fields. The rain kept pouring down, but Sadie's magic umbrella traveled with us, keeping the worst of the storm away. Annabeth and Carter compared notes from the research they'd done. They talked about Ptolemy and mixing the Greek and Egyptian magic. As for Sadie, she didn't appear interested in strategy. She leaped from puddle to puddle in her combat boots. She hung to herself, twirled like a little kid, and occasionally pulled random things out of her backpack. Wax animal figurines, some string, a piece of chalk, a bright yellow bag of candy. She reminded me of someone. Then it occurred to me. She looked like a younger version of Annabeth. But her fidgeting and hyperness reminded me of, well, me. If Annabeth and I ever had a daughter, she would probably look a lot like Sadie. Whoa. It's not like I'd never dreamed about kids before. I mean, you date someone for over a year, the idea is going to be in the back of your mind somewhere, right? But still, I'm barely 17. I'm not ready to think too seriously about stuff like that. Also, I'm a demigod. On a day-to-day basis, I'm busy just trying to stay alive. And yet, just looking at Sadie, I can imagine that someday maybe I'd have a little girl who looked like Annabeth and acted like me. A cute little Helion of a demigod, stomping through puddles and flattening monsters with magic camels. I must have been staring because Sadie frowned at me. What? Nothing, I said quickly. Carter nudged me. Were you listening? Yes. No. What? Annabeth sighed. Percy, explaining things to you is like lecturing a gerbil. Hey, wise girl, don't start with me. Whatever, Seaweed Brain. We were just saying that we'll have to combine our attacks. Combine our attacks? I patted my pocket, but Riptide had not reappeared in pen form. I didn't want to admit how nervous that made me. Sure, I had other skills. I can make waves, literally, and occasionally even whip up a nice frothy hurricane. But my sword was a big part of who I was. Without it, I felt crippled. How do we combine attacks? Carter got a mischievous gleam in his eyes that made him look more like his sister. We turned Setna's strategy against him. He's using hybrid magic, Greek and Egyptian together, right? We do the same. Annabeth nodded. Greek-style attacks won't work. You saw what Setna did with your sword, and Carter is pretty sure regular Egyptian spells won't be enough either. But if we can find a way to mix our powers... Do you know how to mix our powers? I asked. Carter's shoes squished in the mud. Well, not exactly. Oh, please, Sadie said. That's easy. Carter, give Percy your wand. Why? Just do it, brother dear. Annabeth, do you remember when we fought Serapis? That's right. Annabeth's eyes lit up. I grabbed Sadie's wand and it turned into a celestial bronze dagger, just like my old one. It was able to destroy Serapis' staff. Maybe we can create another Greek weapon from an Egyptian wand. Good idea, Sadie. Cheers. You see, I don't need to spend hours planning and researching to be brilliant. Now, Carter, if you please. As soon as I took the wand, my hand clenched, like I grabbed an electrical blade. Spikes of pain shot up my arm. I tried to drop the wand, but I couldn't. Tears filled my eyes. By the way, Sadie said, this may hurt a bit. Thanks, I gritted my teeth. Little late on the warning. The ivory began to smolder. When the smoke cleared and the agony subsided, instead of a wand, I was now holding a celestial bronze sword that definitely wasn't Riptide. What's this? I asked. It's huge. Carter whistled under his breath. I've seen those in museums. That's a coppice. I hefted the sword. Like so many I've tried before, this one didn't feel right in my hands. The hilt was too heavy for my wrist. The single-edged blade was curved awkwardly, like a giant hook knife. I tried a jab and nearly lost my balance. This one doesn't look like yours, I told Carter. Isn't yours called a kopis? Mine's a kapesh, Carter said. The original Egyptian version. What you're holding is a kopis. A Greek design adapted from the Egyptian original. It's the kind of sword that Ptolemy's warriors would have used. I looked at Sadie. Is he trying to confuse me? No, she said brightly. He's confusing without trying. Carter smacked his palm against his forehead. That wasn't even confusing. How was that? Never mind. Percy, the main thing is, you can fight with that sword. I sliced the kopis through the air. I feel like I'm fencing with a meat cleaver. But it'll have to do. What about weapons for you guys? Annabeth rubbed the clay beads on her necklace, the way she does when she's thinking. She looked just beautiful. Sadie, she said, those hieroglyphic spells you used on the Rockaway Beach, which one made the explosion? It's called... well, I can't actually say the word without making it blow up. Hold on. Sadie rummaged through her backpack. She brought out a sheet of yellow papyrus, a stylus, and a bottle of ink. I guess because pen and paper would be un-Egyptian. She knelt using her backpack as a makeshift writing desk and scrawled in normal letters, H-A-D-I, Hadi. That's a good spell, Carter agreed. We could show you the hieroglyph for it, but unless you know how to speak the words of power... No need, Annabeth said. The phrase means explode. More or less, Sadie said. And you can write the hieroglyph on a scroll without triggering the kaboom. The scroll will store the magic for later. If you can read the word from the papyrus, well, that's even better. More kaboom with less effort. Good, Annabeth said. Do you have another piece of papyrus? Annabeth, I said, what are you doing? 'Cause if you're messing around with exploding words... Relax, she said. I know what I'm doing. Sort of. She knelt next to Sadie, who gave her a fresh sheet of papyrus. Annabeth took the stylus and wrote something in ancient Greek. Annabeth took the stylus and wrote something in ancient Greek. Kerano. Being dyslexic, I'm lucky if I can even recognize English words. But being a demigod, ancient Greek is sort of hardwired into my brain. Kerano, I pronounced. Blast? Annabeth gave me a wicked little smile. Closest term I could think of. Literally it means strike with lightning bolts. Ooh, Sadie said. I love striking things with lightning bolts. Carter stared at the papyrus. You're thinking we could invoke an ancient Greek word the same way we do with hieroglyphs? It's worth a try, Annabeth said. Which of you is better at that kind of magic? Sadie, Carter said. I'm more of a combat magician. Giant chicken mode, I remembered. Dude, my avatar is a falcon-headed warrior. I still think you could get a sponsorship deal with KFC. Make some big bucks. Knock it off, you two. Annabeth handed her scroll to Sadie. Carter, let's trade. I'll try your kopis, you try my Yankees cap. She tossed him the hat. I'm usually more of a basketball guy, but... Carter put on the cap and disappeared. Wow, okay, I'm invisible. Aren't I? Sadie applauded. You never looked better, brother dear. Very funny. If you can sneak up on Setna, Annabeth suggested, you might be able to take him by surprise and get the crown away from him. But you told us Setna saw right through your invisibility, Carter said. That was me, Annabeth said. A Greek using a Greek magic item. For you, maybe it'll work better, or differently, at least. Carter, give it a shot, I said. The only thing better than a giant chicken man is a giant invisible chicken man. Suddenly the ground shook under our feet. Across the soccer fields, towards the south end of the island, a white glow lit the horizon. That can't be good, Annabeth said. No, Sadie agreed. Perhaps we should charge a little more quickly.